What's up, y'all? Welcome to another channel of Machine Head Repair Project. And today we're going to be working on a 2000 Acura TL. It's a 3.2 liter engine, V6, and what we're going to be working on is we're actually installing a power steering pump. So what you're looking at right now is a power steering pump. So here you have the power steering pump. Here's the pulley here. And there is some power steering fluid still inside. This is not a brand new one. This is a used one that we're going to actually install back into the vehicle. So before we install the power steering pump into the vehicle, first I want to explain that the power steering pump actually lies in the center of the engine in the front. So this is the front end of the engine where the tensioner belt, serpentine belt goes, and that's the belt is going to be one of the belts. There's two belts on this engine, and one of the belt runs the power steering. And so the intake manifold lies right on top of here, and here's two of the heads. So it's going to lie on the passenger side of the vehicle. The driver's side is where the transmission is. So this area is where the power steering pump is going to go. This is one of the bolts that it's going to mount on. And then here we have the tensioner to tighten up the belt for the power steering. So it's going to mount onto here as well. So let's go ahead and get that on. So you're going to get the power steering pump, and this right here is going to mount. This right here is going to mount into here, and this is going to mount onto where you tighten up the belt. So we're going to go ahead and stick those in, and then we're going to go get the bolts. First we'll get the long bolt, and we'll stick that in first. And then we'll get the nut here, and then we'll add that on. And it's going to be mounted on to the bolt that you tighten up for the serpentine belt, or one of the serpentine belt. And both of these, this bolt and this nut is actually a 12 millimeter. So you're going to get a 12 millimeter socket. I like to use a deep socket, that way you can have a better reach. And you're not going to tighten it all the way, but on the back, this other bolt here will have a little snug. Now to access that nut, to tighten up or loosen, it's at the bottom of the power steering pump. It'd be easy to remove the motor mount that's right here at the front of the engine, and then this bolt right here that for the motor mount, make sure it's kind of out of the way, because it'll be easier for you to work with. So make sure the motor mount's out of the way and this bolt's out of the way, that way you can access this nut at the very bottom. And as you can see, this is where you're gonna, this bolt right here and nut is gonna tighten up your serpentine. So right now it's loose, so what we're gonna do is put the belt on before we tighten it up. So for the serpentine belt, it's gonna be the shorter one, okay? So you wanna put it first, you wanna go underneath and go around the crankshaft pulley, and it's going to go in the very back of the pulley, and from there you're going to go ahead and put it over around the power steering pump. So now that you have it around your power steering pump, you want to turn it and make sure it's on the crankshaft. So from there, we're going to go ahead and tighten the bottom bolt a little bit more. And then we're going to go ahead and tighten the top until the belt gets a little tight. Once the belt is a little snug and tight, we're going to go ahead and tighten the bottom. And that's pretty snug there. You don't want it too tightened. And then from there, we're going to go ahead and tighten up the back. Go ahead and double check yourself, make sure all the bolts are tight. And then go back with a wrench and just make sure they're nice and snug and tight, not loose. From there, you got this top line. You got this top line here that goes on top of the power steering pump. And these are has an O-ring. A lot of times you want to replace the O-ring, that way there's no leaks. So keep that in mind. Go ahead and stick that in. Put the two 10mm bolts in. Tighten it down. Next you have the power steering reservoir, and there's a hose right here from the reservoir that's going to connect to the power steering. You're going to connect that and clamp the hose on. And then fill up the reservoir with power steering and then let it run. Right now the reservoir is completely empty, and I'm sure the power steering pump is completely empty. So you're going to fill up the reservoir with power steering and let it run, and then from there it's going to suck it in to the pump, and then the reservoir is going to go low again, so you're going to top it off from there. And that's how you install a power steering pump on a 2000 Acura TL.
Perfect.